tell you what, this rabbit hole goes deep. So, I probably said this 1,000 times before, but I just came from this conference. This pastor, Whitfield Harrington, I had left a long message on his video, some video pertaining to every wind of doctrine. And, he got on there, he was speaking against Hebrew, he was speaking against some of the extra biblical books. So, I left this long message about how, Hebrew was the original language of the Bible and the Hebrew people and of the Messiah. There's nothing wrong with that. And then also, he said he liked the KJV. So I got on there saying, well, a lot of these extra biblical books were actually in the KJV originally and they were removed. And I also told him, Jesus and Paul actually talked about certain extra biblical books that are not in the 66 books right now. And so, I don't know. We're not supposed to look on appearance, but that's not even the right context. Because what it was Samuel was looking on the appearance of an attractive man and just assumed like he was godly. And that's not true, obviously. So this dude, I was looking at his eyes. I'm like, his eyes are bloodshot red. And the last time I saw that was with this leader of this Hebrew Israelite camp in Atlanta. His eyes were bloodshot red. And when he was sitting in his seat, he was just kind of stumbling over like he was drunk. Because what it is, people are using these demonic spirits to gain information from people. So a pastor might have a word for you, but if this pastor is fake, he's not using the spirit of the Father. He's using he's using monitoring spirits, and he's using the spirit of divination. So often when I talk to these people, and, the Father kind of shows me, because what they're saying might not align up with the scriptures or whatever the deal is. And so they often catch an attitude with me. This is why I've gotten kicked out of churches, etc., because I go and I tell people the truth and they're like, I don't like it, you gotta go. And so it was weird because after I talked to him, he whistled and I was like, is he calling security type deal? Somebody whistled, I don't know who it was, but I don't think there's any coincidences. The Father was alerting me in some kind of way. And so he gave me this look like, who are you to correct me? I'm the preacher, He just had this attitude that just was no good. The spirit just wasn't good. And when I shook his hand, I had felt that same energy, that Kundalini spirit energy. I don't know how to describe it. It just feels like vibrations, I guess. It's not, because I have felt the spirit of people filled with the spirit, and they literally can touch you and heal you. Like, it's crazy. This is not that. This is like something else. I don't even know if, okay, well, I'm not going to say that, but yeah. And so I felt that, I was like, oh, he's a diviner. Like, and I kind of was picking it up because he was speaking in these false tongues, that halashalabosha, and I started thinking to myself, you should have an interpreter, and it just shouldn't sound the same all the time, And what I have noticed in the past is these false people will get up and they'll start gaslighting you. They pick up that you're a true child of God. And so what they do is they use these divining spirits to, hone in on whatever is in your spirit, whatever word or whatever the deal is. And they will start speaking against that or speaking for it or whatever the deal is. And they will also try to accuse you of being who they are, which is a witch or a warlock. I've had that happen to me multiple times. And then people accuse me of that and they'll literally go and steal my words. And they're not my words, they're the Father's words. But, even Ezekiel talks about how these people, they go and they steal the words of the prophets and that kind of thing. And so this is what I'm pretty sure this man is doing. And so, I gave him my email. I gave it to his secretary or one of the women that works with him. And I said, he can email me, and we can talk about this, or I'm just going to put out this video and expose him. So if you see this video, he didn't email me. But, I had still left that long message on his YouTube like a week or so ago and never got a response. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people commenting he might miss things or whatever the deal is. Or they see them and they just don't say anything, because that happens a lot as well. But that's not the Spirit of God, because Christ would never ignore his disciples. But he said, he straight up got up on stage and was like, yeah, I'll ignore you if you're a witch. But I don't know if that's necessarily the Spirit of God either, because even Paul, there was Simon and a couple other witches in the Bible. I don't think he necessarily ignored them. I don't know. The spirit was just not right. I was sensing some kind of haughtiness. And he was all like, well, he tried to make it seem like I was coming to ask him for advice, but what I was looking more so for was like, oh, yeah, I'll look into that. I didn't know. But he was basically like, well, if it doesn't deter you away from Christ or something like that. And I'm like, thinking to myself, no, you need to stop teaching falsely. You need to admit that you're teaching falsely. You need to say, oh, I'll look into that. You need to say these kinds of things because that shows to me that you're really humble in the spirit, not, oh, well, you need to do this. It wasn't about me and what I need to do. It's about what you need to do. You have to stop teaching falsely because that's not wind of doctrine. And so if it's not wind of doctrine when you're saying it is, first off, Christ is going to hold you accountable. And that's the thing. People always say, oh, you need to go see Christ. You need Christ. Who is Christ? He is the Word in the flesh. So these extra biblical books, which were not only talked about by Paul, but also talked about by Christ, they were in the Bible originally, you know. They were in the KJV, many of them. And so that's all I was trying to say to him. And then denying that, you know, Hebrew is legit. Like there's an issue with looking through Hebrew when your own Messiah was Hebrew. And when you look at those words, you know, they have meaning and you start to build upon that. So to me, this is just an agenda from the enemy saying, hey, I don't want you to actually learn what Hebrew is. I don't want you to learn the Greek. I want you to come under my minister so you can say stupid because God said my people perish because of lack of knowledge. So, you know, again, if you're seeing this video, he didn't email me back. I wasn't really expecting an email. He's too busy. He is the preacher. He was talking about unities with pastors or something like that. I was like, what? Like, something ain't right. Talking about, oh, you're not supposed to expose people. You just pray for them. No, I'm going to expose you because that's what God said to do. You know, if you're not listening, then you expose them. Yeah, this unity with pastors things, like, oh, he's going to get a bunch of pastors together. And I'm like, y'all aren't even a leader of the church. Look at Corinthians. It says, first was giving apostles, then prophets, okay? Those are supposed to be the heads of the church, not preachers. So people putting preachers up on this pedestal is real peculiar. And again, the whole tongues thing. Tongues was like legit languages. It wasn't all this gibberish stuff. So that's a false spirit, guys. And, you know, it's crazy because in this days, you can seriously get deceived by people, like seriously get deceived. Well, he said, what did he say, 1/3 or 2/3? So anyway, stay diligent, guys. I love you. Be blessed. Bye.